LeBron James really dropped the ball when he talked about China. Listen to him condemn NBA owner Daryl Morey for calling out the Hong Kong protests.
And we all talk about this freedom of speech. Yes, we all do have freedom of speech, but at times there are ramifications for the negative that can happen when you're not thinking about others and you're only thinking about yourself. So I don't believe I don't want to get into a word or sentence feud with Daryl Morey, but I believe he wasn't educated on the situation at hand, and he spoke, and so many people could have been harmed, not only financially but physically, emotionally, spiritually. So just be careful what we tweet and we say and what we do. Even though yes, we do have freedom of speech, but there can be a lot of negative that comes with that too.
Yes, we have freedom of speech in America. They don't have that in China. Recently, LeBron, South Park was banned in China, and Zedd, the popular EDM DJ, was banned from performing in China just for liking a South Park tweet. That's how much freedom doesn't exist in China, LeBron. But feel free to condemn anybody who talks about that or puts a spotlight on that. Next, LeBron says he doesn't want to get political.
I feel like I talked about it yesterday. I tweeted out a couple of responses to people not understanding, my knowledge of where it came from my brain and for me learning from the situation. I'm talking about it now, and I won't talk about it again because I'll be cheating my teammates by continuing to harp on something that won't benefit us. Trying to win a championship, because that's what we're here for. We're not politicians. I think it's a huge political thing, but we are leaders, and we can step up at times. But there's times where I'm not saying in this particular instance, but if you don't feel like you should speak upon things, you shouldn't have to.
Right, LeBron. We totally believe that you're not into politics and you don't want to get political, especially since you campaigned for Hillary Clinton in 2016.
First of all, thank you for the applause. I know you guys are excited to see her. I didn't know you guys would be excited to see me too, but thank you. Before I get started, I want to bring up a good friend of mine and also someone that's for Hillary as well, my good friend J.R. Smith.
I won't talk about it again because I'll be cheating my teammates by continuing to harp on something that won't benefit us. Trying to win a championship, because that's what we're here for. We're not politicians. I think it's a huge political thing, but we are leaders.
You can't seem to stop talking about activism in the United States and politics in the United States. You even have your own HBO show to talk about it, but I guess we could just pretend like we don't want to get too political now. LeBron even had the nerve to say that people who voted for Trump in Ohio wasn't educated.
You live and work in a state in which the majority of voters voted for the current president, many of whom probably had valid reasons beyond his Twitter account or his social graces. How do you reconcile having called that choice a mistake, that many of those people are also Cavaliers fans?
Well, that's a great question. At the end of the day, like I said, you can, I don't think a lot of people was educated.
It's an interesting political opinion, but mine is that you're not educated, LeBron James, or you're fake, or you're a liar, because if you were educated, and you really do care about black people like you claim in your activism, then you might have been a little bit hesitant to support and endorse Hillary Clinton in 2016, considering with her as Secretary of State, the United States overthrew the government of Libya, killed the leader, and a literal slave trade was left there in the absence of a government. So what could be a reason that these NBA players want to condemn America and hate on their own country all the time, but don't seem to want to talk about a country that doesn't nearly have the amount of freedom that America has, that they should be a little bit grateful for?
It's really about Nike. And Nike is the king of basketball. Nike's a $30 and $40 billion a year business. The NBA is an $8 billion a year business. The NBA answers to Nike, and Nike answers to China. From LeBron James to Colin Kaepernick, who supports them? Nike.
This is also why Colin Kaepernick's activism worked. It's because it's corporate activism. It's, I'm going to stand up for my people in America, even though I'm only going to talk about 0.001% of the reason they're dying, ignore 99.9%, and then go work with people who use under minimum wage laborers in another country and get money from them. Wow, so brave and stunning. And all these players, like somebody I love, Steph Curry, I even have his jersey. I like the guy a lot. I like his mindset. I love his skills on the court. I like his family. But listen to him like, oh, I don't want to talk about it really. Yeah, of course you have no problem talking about gun violence because it's a framed narrative to try to take away a freedom in this country, the Second Amendment. You don't talk about how in England, gun violence, knife violence, overall crime, acid attacks are all on the rise. You don't talk about the tens of thousands of people who are dying in this country due to opioids and fentanyl. You're only allowed to do communist-style activism, which is take away our freedom of speech, take away our Second Amendment, take away the right to a fair trial under the guise of, I care so much about women. Talk about equality among the genders, although I'm sure you're not giving your salary to the WNBA, or realizing that recent studies came out and said that women are actually doing better than men, not only in school, but in the workforce.
You want to say publicly on certain issues?
No, I think this one just it's a league-wide situation, and our presence in China, it's just a different conversation, I think, than what we have normally, Coach talking about gun violence or gender equality or things that for us is being spokespeople for people who can't speak for themselves.
They let you do that stuff because it's communist-style activism. They're like, I'm so courageous when it comes to cracking down on American freedom and personal liberty, but when it comes to talking about the communist regime that funds my league, all of a sudden I don't have something for it. I'm so tired of these athletes. I love their skills on the court. I don't mind if they have certain political priorities that disagree with mine, but it's like, say nothing about communist regime, pump communist ideology into our country, and then pat yourself on the back like you're somehow helping working class citizens and people of all colors. I don't care what you do. It's just like, stop pretending like you're super woke or real or really helping us, because you're not. You're just multi-millionaires listening to what Nike and the NBA tell you to do, what you're allowed to do, and they figure out what you're allowed to do based on who's funding them, giving them money, or televising their shows.
Communist countries for 100 years have used the strategy of smearing the West, aka America, as being the racist demon of the planet. And they do it to cover up their own racism, their own depravity, and the damage of communism. Voila, here we have Nike in bed with China, and Nike athletes, Colin Kaepernick, LeBron James, smearing the United States.
Let me know what you think.